Welcome to BNOW for January 11th, Tuesday, and I'm Don McLeod.
And I am Fazal Khan. How's everybody doing?
Yeah,
Happy New Year. Can we still say Happy New Year, Don?
Yeah, Happy New Year was last Tuesday.
Well, when does it end?
Well, it ended
February
last
1st.
Tuesday.
February
How about
1st.
that? It has been freezing cold out there, which is perfect if you want to make a backyard rink. So I know that Patrick Brown announced that the city was doing a backyard rink contest, right?
How's yours coming?
I don't make a backyard rink. I'll
Do you
go
want
to
to
a
see
rink,
mine? I got a live shot of mine. Let me show it to you, Don.
Oh yeah, sure you do.
Here we go. Oops, it's a live shot. Let me turn on the camera panoramic going. Here we go. There. Ooh, nice.
Look at that, eh?
What do you think?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not your rink. I know that because that was posted on Twitter by someone called Andrew, I think it was.
Yeah.
And this is in Brampton. That's he did a hell of a job there. That looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, amazing, actually. I did tweet him and I said, you better have like a loony or toonie at center ice. And he replied back and says he does.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, if I need a loony or toonie, I know where to go.
You know, all he's missing is the red light for a goal and maybe a scoreboard. And I don't know how he cannot win.
Well, there's only one net, so he really can't play, with two teams. So it's probably he's got a kid there, and that's a really good backyard rink. But so I don't know what the prizes are. Oh no, the prizes are, what is it? 1 hour with Wendell Clark and 1 hour with Doug Gilmore.
Well, and the mayor, I think all three of them at the same time.
Cool.
And I think they're going to do that to 3 backyard rinks. So I don't think they're all going to be hockey rinks. That is like a really nice looking hockey rink, but they've got to kind of diversify their choices. Maybe like a nice paradise kind of rink, with light bulbs and things.
Well, if somebody really, I know people can really get creative. I mean, I grew up in Montreal, and the rinks in the backyard were like, they were full size, like hockey rinks, and with lights over top and the whole thing, right? But that was a different time and different era. But most people don't have as big as backyards. I know my brother up in Newmarket, he built a rink for his kid, and it's a lot of work. It's not you've got to put the liner and you got to put the make sure it's even and water it.
So when we moved into our house maybe 16, 17 years ago, our backyard wasn't fenced or anything. It looked pretty flat, so I just I got the liner and I just kind of started putting water on it, no boards or nothing, thinking the water would stay. And there was about a 2 feet slope in my backyard that I didn't realize. So that didn't work.
Well, the thing is too, I mean, we used to actually skate and have hockey on outdoor ponds, right? So I know there's a lot of outdoor ponds. I know there's one up around Sandalwood. I know that Professor's Lake, right? Basically,
there's one in by my area here. It's a community-run rink, so I've never skated on it because whenever I go, it's always a closed sign.
Yeah, well, don't forget, I mean, the temperatures here in Ontario aren't as cold as they are in Quebec. So, I mean, it lasts longer. You can get maybe, I don't know, if you're lucky, you can maybe get a couple months in Ontario, right?
So Karen, our regular viewer, Karen, says she has a field beside her. Maybe I should flood it.
Well, you call the fire department. They can come and flood it for you, right?
Yeah, we were at a rink yesterday. We were shooting a video with the city had a water truck flooding a rink. I had to ask the guys there because they didn't have a liner on their rink. And I know you absolutely need a liner. So they said they were just kind of getting ready. They had a smaller liner that wouldn't fit, so they were just getting ready.
Yeah, we have some video footage of that we're going to post probably tomorrow. That was a freezing cold day. I tell you, once I did the shots, my fingers were numb for like 5 minutes. Like I was up in Sesquicentennial Park.
You got to be a true Canadian like me, Don. I don't know where you're from.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're from Guyana, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of snow in Guyana. Anyway.
I'm not even sure they have ice cubes. Nobody has freezers and stuff. Everything's fresh there.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, so the backyard rink, and then they have a whole bunch of different rinks that the city is setting up. So yeah, we got some footage for that. We still have to edit that. We'll probably finish it tomorrow and put it up, and you can take a look at it. I was with Mayor Patrick Brown and Harkirat Singh. So they're doing a whole bunch of different rings around the city. So you can check out for the backyard rink contest. If you go to Brampton Events, I think it's at bramptonevents.ca, and you can find out all the rules and regulations and what you can win.
I don't think there's such a thing as Brampton Events.ca. Let me just see. It's probably
Brampton. If you go on the website.
Brampton.ca/events, maybe.
Yeah, /events. Go on the
/events.
website. Yeah.
Although what I'm seeing there is a pretty generic looking, I don't know. It's somewhere on the website. I'm sure if you got a backyard rink, it only takes 5 minutes to look.
Yeah, you go to the city website and it'll give you all the details.
I think entries have to be in by the end of the month, so get it in there.
Well, it's cold enough. It's going to be cold tomorrow and cold on Friday. So anyway, let's talk about
cold all winter, Don.
What's that?
It's going to be cold all winter.
Yeah, well, not -20 all winter. We don't live in Nunavut, okay? Let's go with something that came out of Quebec today, talking about Quebec. Premier Legault, he was he is going to put a tax on the unvaxxed, right? He's not calling it tax. He's calling it a health contribution. So anyone an adult who is not vaxxed, doesn't have the first shot, and doesn't have a medical exemption, he's going to hit them with a health contribution. What do you think of that one?
Maybe it's just a tactic to get people, for the small 10 or 15% to go do it. But no doubt there's a good chunk of those people that are just not going to do it now just to make a stance. I don't know how they could do it. Like, where do you stop that, right? What about if you smoke? Do you have to pay your own health bills?
Well, if you smoke or drink, basically you're paying tax every time you buy the product, right? And that theoretically, that tax is supposed to go towards, the system itself, where we know the system that's another big problem that we're going to talk about. The health system seems to be crumbling under this COVID situation. So it's going to be interesting. I haven't heard anything from the federal government, nothing from Trudeau in regards to universal health care across Canada. I don't know how Legault is going to get away with this, but it'll be interesting to find out. He doesn't have all the details. He said he was going to release it next week, but he said the fines are going to be substantial.
Darshan is commenting also. He says, what about people who injure themselves or others while driving impaired? Who should bear the cost of that?
Well, what if you're a downhill skier? Like, if it's a dangerous sport, you could break your leg. Like, what if you're a mountain climber? What if you're anything, right? It's a slippery slope that if he gets away with it, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like this problem has come up before, where people on the Scarborough Bluffs, remember, they were falling down.
I just got to wish Santa a Happy New Year. You didn't appreciate my Happy New Year greeting. I think Santa will.
No, he's talking about Christmas, not New Year.
Doesn't matter. It's all the same time of year.
Jesus. Thank you, George.
I'm still in holiday mode, Don. I'm going to make that last. I got my tree. I think it's got to go out to the curb this week. So I got to get all the lights and decorations off and vacuum I got a real tree, by the way.
Mm-hmm. That's nice, Faz. How much did you pay for the tree?
Too much.
No,
I don't know what happened this year, but I got like a 5-foot tree and it was like $79 plus tax, and I didn't even cut it myself. It looked like it was shipped into the farm I was at.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot for a tree.
Not as much as a fake tree, though.
Yeah, well, there you go. Anyway, so yeah, Pierre Legault, that's Premier Legault. That's going to be interesting to find out over the next couple of weeks on how he's going to get away with that one. And the other thing is too,
I'm getting a Christmas gift next year. Clearly, I'm on his good list.
Well, you'll get one, maybe from George. There was a tree shortage. How can there be a tree shortage in Canada? Plus the fact that Trudeau wasn't he going to plant 2 billion trees? Right?
Not Christmas trees, Don.
Jesus. Anything, most of the population of Canada is 100 miles north of the 49 perimeter, right? 49th perimeter. You go anything further past, like 80 or 90% of the population lives under that. Above that, the Canadian Shield, there's tons of trees. Tons of trees. I know, I've been up there. I've been up to the Arctic.
Anybody who's moving into a new house or who has a backyard that's empty, you should plant a small Christmas tree, whatever flavor you like, once a year. And in 10 years, you'll have a recycling tree you can cut, bring inside, and then replant another one. Somebody should have told me that when I moved into my house.
Well, you're from Guyana. You don't realize that, right?
Well, I'm telling you, I realize it now, and I'm sharing the wisdom for all you young families out there.
Karen, it's all because of COVID. Everything's because of COVID, Karen.
I would like Santa to tell us why my tree costs so much.
Yeah, well, it's probably because the price of everything goes up. It's
Whoa,
going to be
whoa,
interesting.
whoa! I didn't realize the city gave out free trees this fall.
Free
Karen, you're gonna have
trees.
to. I didn't
What
hear
kind of
about that.
trees?
Maybe it was seedlings,
Oh, maybe
little,
seedlings. Oh,
little,
okay.
little, little trees like that.
Well, they're never free because there's a cost involved, right? It's like I give you, to plant. Yes, to plant. Of course, to plant, not to eat. Maybe if I'm a goat, okay, that would be good. But yeah, of course, to plant, Karen. Thank you for that.
Well, I think she meant to put in a stand in your house is the
Uh-huh.
alternative.
Well, if they're this big, the stand is not very big. So anyway, it'll be interesting. We're talking about COVID and the shortages. I think very shortly, any trucker that tries to come across the border that's not vaccinated will not be allowed. So, between Canada and the United States, there's a lot of trucking. Trucking is a big industry and cross border. So that's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. That's another problem.
But you know what? At the end of the day, Don, I don't understand why people aren't getting vaccinated. I know there's a lot of controversies about how fast it was made, but at this point, I think the evidence is clear. Your symptoms, at least, are much less severe than if you didn't have the vaccine. Your chances of death are lower. At least that's the stats public health tell us. And I know Darshan was on earlier, and he's kind of pointing out all of the kind of inflated numbers that public health or the hospital systems are putting out in terms of COVID infections, and if they're actually the reason why these patients are being hospitalized or in the ICU. And it turns out they seem to be inflated, right?
Well, if someone goes in with a broken leg, they're tested for COVID, but then they're added to the list, and then they originally go in for broken leg, and then they're COVID, so they're put on the COVID list. So are the numbers
Well,
inflated?
and I think we knew about that one. That what we didn't know was they're doing that in ICU as well. So you can be in the ICU for something else if you have COVID. Oh, you're now a COVID ICU patient.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think, we talked about this last week and the week before, and we talked about a month ago about the numbers being, you got 10,000 cases of COVID. Okay, well, that doesn't mean 10,000 people are rushing to the ICU or rushing to the ER, although Peel Health did say that the urgent care was closed until February the 1st this week because
Which
they don't have enough.
that raises a whole another question, right? Because William Osler came out on Sunday saying Peel Memorial the urgent care center was going to be closed until at least until the end of Monday, which was yesterday. Today they come out and says it's closed until the rest of the month.
Yeah, till February the 1st.
It seems like they're just reacting and not being able to plan. Last month they said it's reopening, the hours are extending. A few weeks later, we're shut down for the entire month. I don't even know if they're turning off the lights and the electricity and the gas there.
Well, the thing is like, okay, we're talking about the only basic hospital that we have is Brampton Civic in Brampton for a population of over 600 and something thousand, right? So you've got X amount of people. The Peel Memorial, which is doesn't have a 24/7 emergency ward, and that is only for specific cases and stuff that's basically put on hold. So all the residents of Brampton are basically looking at William Osler, or not the Peel Memorial, but the Brampton Civic, and the urgent care is closed. We already have, I think Code Orange was declared last week, and now they're telling people don't come to the emergency ward, go to your family doctor if you feel cases of COVID. Well, that brings up another case. How many people have a family doctor? I know I do, but a lot of people that I talk to do not have family doctors. They're going to either walk-in clinics or they're going to the emergency. And that's another situation.
I'm not even sure if I have a family doctor. I know my kids have a family doctor, and I called because I had an issue earlier this year. And instead of going in, I had to send in pictures. And I don't even think I spoke to a doctor. I spoke to somebody in their office. So I'm not even sure what the point right now during a pandemic of having a family doctor, because I don't even think they're seeing patients in their office unless you're severe, and if you're severe, you should be going to the urgent care center. Which means you go to the ER.
No, I've gone into my family doctor for other things, for the checkups and stuff like that. But I mean, they're still taking. Family doctors are still working, and they're still taking care of their patients. It's just that a lot of people do not have family doctors, right?
Yeah.
Karen, my doctor is seeing patients in person. Yes, Karen, that's probably because you have mental problems being married to Mike, right?
Don, that is not. We're living in 2022. everybody has mental health, according to my kids.
According to your kids,
Everybody has mental health.
well, they're living with you, so they probably know for sure, right? Anyway, let's go to the next thing. I noticed the United States, the Center for Disease Control in the United States, they elevated a travel warning to Canada, a level 4 COVID, very high risk going to Canada.
Well, I'm going to put Harinder's comment there saying we're finally waking up to fake numbers. I'm not sure they're fake numbers.
No, they're not fake numbers. It's just how they're reported. It's like,
just
what?
Inflated. It's honest. We're too honest. That's our problem, right? Anybody with a COVID infection, we're broadcasting it to the world. We have COVID infections. And of course, what's the CDC supposed to do? Don't go to Canada where we are inflating our numbers?
Well, this is coming from the United States where they have 600,000 people,
I heard something yesterday about 700,000 cases a day.
Well, what are they? 200 and something million people. But that's, again, it's like if you have COVID, there's mild cases. There's, the numbers.
I don't think we're tracking anymore how many people have COVID. What makes sense is tracking our how it's impacting our healthcare system.
Exactly.
Which was overburdened to begin with, right?
Right, because Peel Health said today, there was an article in the Globe and Mail saying that Peel Health is not actually tracking any businesses for COVID cases. They just don't have enough personnel to do any kind of tracking. So basically you have our Amazon warehouse, which, at the very beginning of the pandemic, they were having a lot of COVID cases and they were told not to report it, right? One of the people interviewed with the Toronto Star saying we were not told that people had COVID and so on and so forth. So now basically Peel Health is giving up on any kind of business tracking, whether it be logistics, whether it be Amazon, whether it be a lot of those businesses that are in Brampton that have part-time, low wages and no benefits.
Yeah, I think it's a futile effort now to track how many people have it because everybody's going to get it. It seems with the Omicron variant. Karen says we're no longer tracking cases at school. That's a huge mistake. Next few weeks will be scary at schools. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know what to think about schools. My youngest is a grade 12 student, so she has exams coming up, and I think the school is trying to figure out if they need to come in or not. But for younger families with kids in, middle school, grade 9, 10, or elementary school, yeah, I'm not so worried about the kids. I'm worried about the kids bringing it home to the adults.
Well, we all know, what the Ontario government has been doing. It's been flip-flopping. First it says we're going to close down, then it says we're going to open up, then we got HEPA filters, then we got 95 masks. The messaging is all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And not all students are vaccinated. That's true too. And not all teachers are vaccinated, right? So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think a lot of people.
Are teachers allowed to teach or go to school if they're not vaccinated? Maybe.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure some of them have exemptions, or some of them get tested. Because
Karen, by the way, is our public school expert today.
Okay.
And I think we need a school expert because the information coming out is just so sparse.
Right. So here she said, yes, they have to be rapid tested. So again,
not vaccinated, just rapid tested.
Right. And it's the same. Right. So it's the same thing with city employees, right? The same thing with city employees, whether it be fire or it be union, and I think most of the CUPE members too. I think they have such and such a date. Patrick Brown said, just test it on a regular basis. So, either you're vaxxed or you're unvaxxed. I mean, I don't think we should be, penalizing the unvaxxed people, but there should be a concerted effort from the top down saying, this is why you need to do it. But the messaging has been all over the place since this whole thing started. And that's one of the reasons why you have people and anti-vaxxers out there spreading all sorts of nonsense.
Okay, so we have a comment. I haven't had a chance to read it, but it's long. So here we go. Maybe you can read it, Don.
I can just say that I'm going to be blunt to the point. There's always going to be a virus out there in the world. What is the government going to do? Shut everything down. The virus comes out no matter what government. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, I mean, in some regards, that is true. Viruses have always mutated, and, it's different from polio. I think the governments are waking up to this. Like I said last week, if it was up to my doctor, I wouldn't drink, I wouldn't smoke, I'd be a vegan, I'd live in, I'd be a monk, right? So, I mean, governments have to take a look at this after 2 years. You can't keep relying on the WHO to send messages about what the world is going to do. Each individual country, has to take a stand and say, yes, we understand. These are the pros. These are the cons. You can't shut everything down. You can't leave it. Humanity is not a petri dish for WHO scientists.
If we weren't living in the times we're living in now, let's say it was 100 or 200 years ago, the virus would have probably worked itself through the population by now, right? And unfortunately, we would have probably had more people die than we have now, and that's the trade-off. Are you willing? What percentage of the people are you willing to die? 1%?
Yeah. Well, you take a look at
if you're a senior, would you be okay with that? When you and I, Don, turn 80, and Zachary says, you know what, we're okay with the 1% above 80 dying. Are you going to be okay with that?
Well, it depends on who, like once I get to that level. No, but I mean, if you take a look at the influenza in 1918, I mean, it lasted for 2 years and then, basically was gone. You want to go back to the 1500s with the Black Plague? Okay, it wiped out 50% of the population in Europe. But, we have vaccines, we have medicine, but at the same time, we can't shut everything down. It's just, to me, after 2 years, you've got to have some sort of exit plan. What's the exit plan after the kids go back after the shutdown? Does Doug Ford have one? Because I haven't heard it. Does Justin Trudeau have it, other than saying we're all going to get rapid tests?
Hi, Ivan. We haven't seen you in a while. Happy New Year to you.
Yep. So, I mean, there's a lot of questions that's still outstanding there, and a lot of people are just getting more confused. And you've got people on the vax side, the anti-vax side, people in the middle. People have already got their shots, and then they said, now you got to get more shots, and the public health message to me has been all over the place.
And you and I, Don, if we're thinking this way, you and I were both pro public health, pro vaccine, pro mask, and now we're throwing our hands up in the air saying, does anybody really know what they're doing at this point?
Well, that's the question, right? Does anybody know? I mean, for Peel Health to say, well, we're not going to track any outbreaks of COVID. I mean, one of the things was, I remember the very thing about, what was it, less than a year ago, talking about tracking is essential, right? Contact tracing is the way to keep this under control. Well, now they're just forget contact tracing. It's gone. It's out the window, right?
Did you ever install that app?
What app was that?
It would tell you if you were in the vicinity.
I'm still waiting for the Doug Ford bracelets. Remember? The $2 million in the Doug Ford bracelet.
I'm thinking if you had the app now, your phone would be buzzing all the time. You'd be hiding in the basement like me.
Yeah, there was one there. Yeah, it was supposed to tell you who is close to you or whatever, right? Anyway, to me, there's a problem, right? And, calling in, and then you have people saying, well, call in the military to help. Well, the military's been underfunded for 20, 30 years, right? And now you're asking them to come in because the healthcare system is either underfunded or there's a problem. I mean, that makes no sense at the top anyway. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, and this argument now, 2 years after we've been dealing with this, to not have hospital capacity, that is something that every level of government now should have been able to plan for. You had 2 years. You could have hired more nurses. You could have done something with foreign-trained health professionals. You could have, I don't know, given the ability to personal support workers to do more than they're doing now in terms of, what they're allowed to do. I don't know. There's just so much.
I remember a year ago at the press conference. I mean, I know Patrick Brown, and I think put a motion forward saying that we should have, all the foreign-trained nurses and doctors, fast-tracked, you don't have to do surgeries, but you could have done fast-track to the system. And then Doug Ford, yes, we're going to make sure everything's. What happened to that?
I don't think anything happens, right?
Exactly.
I don't think anything. You're still driving an Uber somewhere in the city.
Right. And then they're talking, Christine Ellen was talking about, yes, we have X amount of, nurses in the system. Okay, well, COVID is happening now. It's not going to be maybe next year it's going to be totally done. everyone is being reactive, not proactive. And from the very beginning, it's been the same thing.
Yeah. Is this
From the federal
issue
government
that,
on down.
Is this issue that Ivan is raising about the truck drivers about them having to be vaccinated?
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier, Ivan. You should have tuned in because we mentioned that earlier. Yes, we talked about that. Yes.
Yeah, and Brampton should have 1,700 hospital beds today. How
Right.
much do we actually have, Darshan?
Well, it's under 600, isn't it? And we're supposed to be getting another 250.
Yeah, so and that's in what, 7 years
20,
or 5
yeah,
years?
in about 2027. So, even then, the population is going to increase. So that bed number is going to increase at the same time. So we're still behind the 8 ball. Brampton is for, I don't care who's, 608, and then we're getting theoretically 250.
We
So
have
that's
608 beds, but how many hospital staff do we have that probably that can handle those?
Well, apparently we don't have enough because Peel Health is shutting. We got a code orange, and we're shutting the urgent care down, right? So,
Well, we had a
plus
code
nurses
orange. We had a code orange for one day.
one day, yeah. But we still have code gridlock, right? We still have the gridlock. We haven't got rid of the gridlock yet.
What happened to all the color codes we had for the pandemic early on too? What color code?
I think Doug Ford ran out of colors, right? He was working the shades. There was the
gray.
gray.
Gray was the worst
Yeah,
color to be in.
yeah. I don't understand that
why it
concept
wasn't
at all.
red.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like normally, it's like red is like that's code red is bad.
And
Code
is
gray,
good.
I don't know. Like,
We had gray.
okay. All right. Well, you know what? Next week is we're almost in the 3rd week of January. January goes by quick, so we'll see what goes on. Kids are back to school on the 17th. We can actually get Karen to find out for us as the educational expert on the school system to find out, and we'll see what else crops up. I think by that time, when is the back rink? Oh, so the backyard rink is what, for another 2 weeks, Faz? Is it the end of
I think
January?
January 31st, your submissions have to be in, and they're making the decision
All right.
early February.
All right. Well, we'll see if you got a video or just a picture of the ice rink that you are building in the backyard. Send it to me, Don at citystudio.ca. We'll post it up next Tuesday.
Are you gonna be looking to those photos to see how to make your rink better?
No, if I made a rink, it would be a fantastic. It would have a bar next to on the thing, right? That's a rink, okay. And then you got space heaters, a bench, the whole bit, and then you'd have servers, okay. It'd be interesting to find out what the rinks look like, because that one there that we saw by Andrew, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, let's. I can't get it back on. I took it off my screen. I should show it again. This is a good way to end the.
Yeah, that's
show.
Pretty cool.
Keep talking. Let me get it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So if you got a picture of a rink you're building or whatever, and or a picture, video, we don't care. It doesn't make a difference. You can send it to us. We'll take a look at it and we'll put it up. I'd be interested to see, some of these things. I mean, you can get pretty elaborate, but it's interesting. Yeah. And then we have the city doing their outdoor rinks. Like I said, they have them at Gore Meadows, Sesquicentennial Park. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, Don. So we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you for joining me, Faz, every week. And thank you for all those who took time out of their busy Tuesday night to tune in. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Have a good one. Stay warm.